Hey guys, how y'all doing? This is D. Durrell with D. Durrell Life Solutions. Just gonna have a short discussion with you all today. Just been going through a lot right now with business, a lot of planning going on. So I know I've been talking about business a lot, and I focus a lot on business because that's just part of what I do, but also I want to focus on those who are into business as it is relating to the medical field or any type of private practice or consulting. And I know I've talked a lot about a variety of different things over the last few days and so forth as relates to financial instruments, filing for a sole proprietorship, an LLC, and so forth. So I like to have my little pillow with me. But I want to focus on today for those who are considering that I already have a business, but you're considering providing new services. Excuse me. You're considering to buy, new products, new equipment. You're looking to buy provide new services. You're thinking about going into another arena that can somewhat supplement the current services that you are already offering to the public. And so right now, I have always been interested, and I have slowly but surely added a variety of different services to what I'm doing. Basically, as an owner, I have always looked at new opportunities. I've always looked at new ways in which I can do things. Let me put that here so I can kind of see. All right, so I've always looked at that. I've always looked at how can I increase my bottom line. And so when I first embarked upon business, particularly solely as the 1% owner, because you all know I went through a little situation there where I had partners and got rid of them. But when I first began doing services, I was strictly doing private practice. Just strictly private practice. And I did community-orientated services out in the community, but it was strictly private practice. Then I slowly added one contract to another contract and another contract, which was all pretty much outpatient orientated. But those contracts served as new services because in those contracts, it required you to do things that may be somewhat different from other contracts. So with one contract some contracts can also appear to be like you're operating specifically with another business because of the requirements. And in some contracts, it do require you to provide different services in a different way. Excuse me. It requires you to do some things different. It may require you to even adjust your company model or the bylaws of your company and so on, because some things in that particular contract may require you to have to alter that just to fulfill the requirements of that particular contract with that company. And I deal with that a lot because I focus a lot with government agencies. And so with government agencies, these things occur. So at this moment right now, and I've talked about this in multiple situations, I was approved for or licensed as a case management agency, and I've been licensed actually since the middle end of 2019. Now, I became licensed in 2019. I didn't receive the actual documentation until probably October, September, even though they dated it back to July. And in that point, I was doing so many things I couldn't focus on actually doing the credentialing and so forth. So I kind of was focusing on other issues that were more pertinent. So I was able to put out applications and so forth for credentialing for other insurance companies. And so with this case management service, I'm required through contract with the state and with the state Medicaid system and the managed care organizations that I provide services that are not necessarily clinical. These are basically non-clinical services. And when I say clinical, what I mean is that it doesn't require you to have a license per se, but it is mental health services, but it's not clinical to the perspective of you have to have a license to provide those services. And so it's more direct care type services that in some way supplement the actual clinical services that you're providing. And so in that, it requires me to have to get a new electronic record system in which I can record, document the things that are going on in regards to how I store information. Now the training and everything is free. However, there was another training that I had to do prior to just getting to that point that did cost me a few dollars. It wasn't a lot, but it did cost me a few dollars. And so in that, I have to hire new staff. The staff in itself will provide services that are basically not related to the other services that I'm already providing. They're going to be a whole separate unit of itself. It's going to require me to provide services, those types of professionals. I can hire those type of professionals. And they'll be able to provide those services at a non-clinical level. And with that comes certain types of documentation. They will be required to see clients in the community. I may have to buy another vehicle so that I can accommodate them being able to use a backup vehicle, and so on. So there's a host of different things that will have to occur, and it will require me to inject some level of a certain level of cash into that, certain level of investment. Not a whole lot, but it will require that. And so with that, what I'm stating is that when you're in the healthcare field, when you're in consulting, when you're in business, in which you're kind of the focal point of it, and it requires you to provide services for others, and you're adding on things, adding on another project, adding on things that can also, adding on new services that can also, in some way, be distinctive from the other services that you're already providing. It's almost like you're basically operating a totally different business. And so in that requires planning. It requires structural planning. It requires maybe a new model. It may require you to manage things differently. You have to manage, myself as an owner, I may have to manage my time differently. And I'm already looking at restructuring how I function during the day. I may have to come to work earlier once this is fully instituted. I basically come in the office particularly between 9:30, 10:30. Now I may have to come in at 8 or 9 like I was in the beginning when I first was getting things going. And once things became consistent, I didn't have to come to work, and I was not providing as many services that early, even though I would come in depending on what I had to do for that day. So it may require me to do that. It may require me to work later. It may require me to be in the office more. It may require me to manage people, and so on. I may have to buy some new computers, and I basically have about 6 or 7 laptops there, but I may have to buy another one for a variety of different reasons. So it requires that planning. It requires having meetings. It requires implementation of that, particularly with the staff. No matter what they're doing, they are somewhat flexible to operate in both sides, because I do have some of my contractors that may be interested in providing case management services along with the therapeutic services that are actually involved in that process, because there's assessments, there's a certain level, there is a certain amount of therapy that needs to be involved, a certain amount of other different things that may be only restrictive to licensed master's level and above personnel. So I just want you to kind of think about that, because there are plenty of people that want to grow their business. They want to do different things. They want to, in many ways, improve. And sometimes that means adding new services. That means adding other things that can potentially make more money. And who knows, even though that may be the secondary form of income at this point, it may grow into being bigger than the actual operation that you have right now. And that has happened to me before. In my Dallas office, it was strictly outpatient. And then when I received a contract from the Department of Family Protective Services, that contract alone basically superseded at least 3 times what I was already doing with strictly doing outpatient services. Then I was doing services in group homes that also provide a certain level of services at one time. So I may talk about the Dallas office from time to time because I do kind of miss it. I miss the money that I was making over there when it was functional, but due to COVID, I don't think things will ever be the same. Even if I decide to go back, they're tempting me right now. Again, today I received another referral wanting me to provide services on site, but I can't. So I may go on a website or something, maybe Psychology Today, look and see if I can maybe rent an office or something like that. And that's maybe for $300, $400, $500, and maybe have a location so that if someone does agree to see them, we would be able to do so. So I hope you learned some things from what I was talking about in regards to preparing yourself for having additional services. This is D. Durrell Life Solutions. Have a great day.